He's so dangerous. Freddy Krueger has nightmares about him.
Hello and welcome to the Rugby Hive. I'm Dallen Stanford, and despite my South African accent, I was fortunate enough to play rugby for the United States on the Sevens World Series.
And I'm Robin MacDowell, a former Canadian Sevens international. Back in my playing days, I went head-to-head against Dallen and the USA.
For several years, Robin has coached international sevens for various countries, including Canada and Mexico. He's massively passionate about growing the game across the Americas through his MacDowell rugby programs at all levels. I'm currently a commentator for World Rugby, most recently broadcasting the Rugby World Cup in Japan, as well as the amazing Sevens World Series.
More than a decade later, we are teaming up to bring you insights from legendary players and coaches from around the world.
All legends have a story. The Rugby Hive Podcast is here to share it.
Welcome to the Hive.
Oh, he's more dangerous than climate change.
Hello and welcome to the Rugby Hive Podcast, where every legend has a story and we're here to share it. Well, we're absolutely delighted to kick off this venture. It's definitely one of the positives that have come out during this testing time, during COVID-19. And Robin, without it, I suppose we wouldn't really have kicked this thing off. I know I was meant to start one of these 2 years ago, but only when you called a few months ago did we realize the dream.
Yeah, it's all about making lemonade out of lemons. Obviously, when COVID hit, so did the airplanes got grounded. For you as a World Series and World Rugby commentator, and myself as a traveling international sevens coach, and neither of us sit still really for too long. And I know we've been in touch for a little while since playing against each other on the World Series. So yeah, I was like, I've had this idea for a little while on my end as well. And when I connected with you, Dal, 20 minutes on the phone together, and we had a business plan, and we were on our way.
It was absolutely epic. I mean, again, I love your energy. I love everything you stand for. And of course, it's really cool. We got a chance to play sevens against each other on the international stage. But let's start off there, your younger years. Tell me, what did you get up to as a young sporting enthusiast?
Yeah, born and raised in the Cowichan Valley on southern Vancouver Island in the Pacific Northwest of Canada. We grew up playing everything outdoors. We don't get too much snow on the West Coast, so we're able to be outside all year. But yeah, typical Canadian kid, hockey, baseball, and then within the school system, played every sport, and just come from a sporting mad family. My dad coached all our sports. I had an older sister that was far more of a champion than I grew up learning from, and yeah, just a happy-go-lucky kid that wanted with too much energy, probably much like you. What was it like in Cape Town as a child?
Yeah, you're spot on with the energy as well. My sister was a keen sports person. My mom actually was in the Guinness Book of Records for non-stop tennis. Her and three guys from university played over 50 hours. And I know before you chirp me, yes, I could probably commentate for 50 hours in a row. But yeah, rugby was in the blood. All sports. I love playing anything and everything. And in the end, of course, rugby being in South Africa was such a big one. Everybody that grew up at that time either wanted to represent, the Springboks or the Blitzboks.
Watching the Springboks lift the Webb Ellis in 1995 must have been so moving as a South African, but also as a young rugby player. Yeah,
Robin, and it really is an inspiring story. And the movie Invictus, tells that story, but living through that as a 16-year-old South African during apartheid, when they had racial segregation, to the country being open and the new South Africa starting with Nelson Mandela taking the helm. It's very rare in society that you find somebody that was been in prison for 27 years can walk out and forgive the people that put them in there. And the fact that he used rugby, which is a sport that we love so much and has so many brilliant values, to unite a nation, to this day still gives me goosebumps. And it's been my driving force to be involved in the sport, because you just want to give back. You want to inspire the people, knowing that the game can really unite, and particularly with so many issues in society these days, rugby can be a part of the solution. And it's something, Robin, that you've obviously used. And let's go back though to your playing career. Tell us how you ended up representing Canada on the Sevens World Series.
Yeah, as a young Cowichan rugby club player on Vancouver Island, we were fortunate. There was one man, Gregor Dixon, the infamous chief, as they named him on the World Sevens Series. He was one of the pioneers for Canada in the 90s and into the early 2000s, and he was this huge. I called him the Predator on the field. He was a back row flanker, and obviously in sevens he was a prop. But he would come back from tours, and I barely left the island as a small town kid, and he'd throw these magazines down on the table at the rugby club, and I would just sit there and flip through. The other kids would be either sneaking a beer or chatting with somebody, but I'd just be flipping through these magazines, and I'd never seen anything like it. And for the younger listeners, we didn't have Google in the early to mid 90s. So that was my Google was looking through these. And I just thought, wow, what, like trying to describe to North American what the World 7 Series is, you just can't describe it. Hockey's everything here, of course. And then I just kind of followed Gregor around and picked his brain as a mentor in those days. And he was really my motivation to one day do that. And he told me I could, and he said it'd be a long road, and he wasn't wrong. It took me 7 years, but boy, when I got a run out for Canada in Dubai in 2005, it was worth every blood, sweat, and tear.
Epic story. I mean, and that's the great thing is that both you and I found international rugby later in our lives. For me, Robin, I honestly didn't know I could play for another country, or anybody could for that matter. So growing up in South Africa, I played at Ronnebosch Boys High School in the Western Cape, lovely setting, and they really taught us the technique of the game really well. And then University of Cape Town had a brilliant time there. And after I finished university, I came to the US for 6 months on a holiday visa, played at the Occidental Old Boys in Los Angeles, had a great time. But what really impressed me most was the Summer Sevens. 2 months of traveling around California, even went to Las Vegas. And as a young South African, who'd never been to America, I was like, wow, they love their sevens here, which is something we didn't do much in South Africa at the time. And that really reinvigorated my love for the game, and got a visa to come back again and played another season in the US. And then got a call from the US coach saying, do you want to come to tryouts? And I said, tryouts for what? And he goes, the national team for the Sevens World Series. I'm like, but you hear my accent. And he explained that because I'd married the beautiful Verity from Verity Explains, you were eligible. You've been here for 3 years, and that's how you and I got to play against each other.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story, and the whole idea of the Rugby Hive is to share these legendary stories of these special coaches and players from around the world, and for our listeners out there to realize that there's no direct path to wherever you want to go. You don't just climb up the face of the mountain. You're going to fall down a few times. You're going to get run over. You're going to trip. You're going to go sideways. You're going to go backwards. But when you get to the top, it's going to be worth it. And if we can share those stories, hopefully we can continue to inspire many, many others. And that's the best thing about our sport is it's a sport for everybody.
And Robin, I want to touch on now. So you had a successful playing career in the end for Canada for many years, and then you transitioned though into coaching, which I will say, I mean, I'm so impressed with your ethos and your why. Yeah,
for me, obviously I had a 7-year run to realize my dream for Canada, and to be honest, the highlight for me was not playing for Canada. The highlight for me looking back was those 7 years of becoming the man I wanted to be. And that's when you're tested. When you're representing your country, when you arrive at your destination, you got clean boots, you got a putting green for a field, you got brand new balls, you got the best players in your respective country on the best stage. It's actually pretty easy. The road there is the toughest, but yeah. So obviously, in Canada, we have 7. Back then, we'd have like combines essentially of close to 100 men fighting for spots, and in those 7 years, there was 70 to 100 other guys fighting for a spot to play for the country, and most of them flying from out of province across the country out of season, and they hadn't touched a ball, or it's snowing there. And so they're literally adapting to being out in the rain on the West Coast. And I was thankful that I just lived up island. And what I found was there's bigger, stronger, faster athletes. So I knew if I didn't realize my dream, I wouldn't be able to get through to the next generation. So when I transitioned out of playing for Canada, I made it my life journey to uncover them. And I've been thankful enough I've been part of many hundreds of athletes' journeys across Canada, now across the U.S. Through some of my MacDowell rugby initiatives and my academy programs, and even into Mexico.
Yeah, let's touch on that briefly, your experience with Mexico and Canada at the international level.
Yeah, I think fortunate enough to pinch myself, but to try and explain my life in a day to people when I was living in the heartland of Canada, in Saskatchewan, that I was flying to Mexico to coach the Mexican women's national team, or flying to Hong Kong, or wherever we were going, but also coaching, being part of the Junior Canada Pathways teams, which was, my main goal as a coach, was to coach my own country, but to be honored to coach another country and to do it at the same time was pretty special as well. But I got asked to work with Mexico in 2014 and consulted for 2-3 years. And then I put my bid in to be head coach in 2016, and finally got hired in 2017 in the spring, and with a mission to make history, to put Rugby Mexico on the map, and to inspire a nation that, again, anything's possible. And for those women there, it was life-changing. Once we actually, realized their dream and qualified for the World Cup, their employers paid them when they went away with the team, or gave them promotions, or bought their club's kit, or made training equipment, like built a gym at their place of work. But even more important, some of their parents came to watch them play. It wasn't really accepted in that time for, rugby being a fringe sport, obviously in Mexico, but also for women playing. So once their families understood it, they got behind them, and those girls, they came back after we qualified for the World Cup at the end of November 2017. We had a camp in January, and I had them all share their story. We had a bigger camp of 30-40 women, but I took the girls, the women that had qualified, and that smaller group out for a dinner one night, and they all shared, because we didn't get to celebrate that night. And it was quite moving. And your and I's experiences as player coaches, obviously commentator, has helped shaped us and given us a diverse background. And we're truly blessed to have had the experiences we have. And we're hoping that through our amazing friends around the world in our sport and our experiences, we can help bring these stories to life and excite, inspire, and share with all those listeners out there.
Yeah, that's the thing about inspiring, the next generation. And I will say I was very privileged when I got a chance to play for the USA. We had a bunch of amazing stars, like Todd Clever, Taku Nguyen, who rounded Brian Abana, and at the Rugby World Cup scored the try of the year, and Chris Wiles, and a bunch of other legends. So taking that USA side from a casual participant in the Sevens World Series to a core team 2 years later was amazing. And then to see them now, top 3 sides in the world, and second last year, it's remarkable. Canada have always been up there as well, particularly the women's side. It really is so amazing to see the growth in North America.
What were some of your highlights in the USA jersey?
I will say, Robin, firstly, surreal, right? To play for another country. I'll never forget Bruce Springsteen's song, Born in the USA, playing when we all ran out of San Diego at 1 year at the Sevens. I looked around, Taku was there, a bunch of South Africans, a couple of Kiwis, some Aussies, Fijian. I was like, there are only 6 American-born players, but we're all adopted our new country, and playing for each other. It was really such a special moment. Also playing in South Africa when my grand and my dad were still alive, for them to come watch, that was epic as well, But again, translating that into the coaching side of things too, is really remarkable to be able to work with young men and women, young boys and girls, have fun, right? I think that's the main thing, is to have fun and make new friends. Because again, without rugby, I wouldn't be in America. I wouldn't have any opportunity like I've had these days. And just the same with yourself, So I think those were kind of the biggest things. And for me, talking about that 95 moment with Nelson Mandela, one of my proudest moments is working in Los Angeles with the inner city kids there, young boys and girls from various elementary and middle schools. We grew the program from 50 kids to 5,000 kids. And just because they were loving it, having a great time, playing this new sport, their parents are rejuvenated, going, well, hold on, what is this rugby game and is it safe? I'm like, absolutely. It's safer than, a lot of the American sports you play that wear protection, but lead with your head, So, and all the values that came around the sport, they were so impressed with it. And it's just something that is so inspiring to help others and unite through the game of rugby.
It's very safe, but for those that know us, we both have crooked noses. So outside of our crooked noses, it's very, very safe. We'll just teach you how to tackle better than we learn to tackle. That's all. Tell us about your commentating. How did you get into that? And obviously, it must have been amazing getting an opportunity to to commentate at the 2019 Japan Rugby World Cup, obviously including the World 7 Series?
Yeah, commentary, I suppose, even though I didn't know it was a potential career when I was young, I've always been non-stop chatter. My sister, Melissa, my mom, they actually talk more than me. So it's very tough to get a word in. You got to be quick. You got to be sharp. You have to have your one-liners ready to go. And so I suppose it was a natural progression after playing. And I'd never forget the opportunity I got, because there are three positions mainly. You could be on the sideline, where you chirp a little bit here and there. You can be a color analyst, which you only comment when the ball is stopped or there's a replay, or there's the lead play-by-play commentator that really talks nonstop. And I knew that was my role, obviously. And so filling the other roles were very difficult for me, even though the people I work with, they're like, Dallen, you have the hardest role because you have to commentate live. It's what you see. You don't have time to react and watch a replay and see who has the ball, or Mothana Thangi, or these complicated names as well. But getting an opportunity to do the Sevens World Series has been a dream come true. And the Rugby World Cup in 2019, again, surreal moment to get a chance to work with Joel Stransky, who is the winning kicker, the champion, the legend that he is from South Africa's 95 World Cup side, to work alongside Santiago Gomez-Cora from Argentina, and many other legends as well. It's a gift and a privilege and an honor to be in that position. And my honest driving factor and goal is to, bring the excitement and bring the humor and fun, right? Because that's why I love playing the game, and hopefully that translates into the commentary. And there's definitely a few one-liners or two-liners thrown in here or there, and we'll be putting them on some Rugby Hive shirts as well.
Well, I tell you what, just a bit of a teaser. We had the legendary Joel Stransky on the podcast, but I'm just gutted that I forgot to ask him what it was like to run on the field with Matt Damon. That must have been such a special feeling, and to win a World Cup with him. Exactly,
unbelievable. And Clint Eastwood, of course, his son reenacting the kick as well. We asked Joel about that off air. And he did say, look, the rugby was awkward, but the movie was brilliant that they kind of did something with him, But Robin, I think we're truly blessed to be in this position, to have so many people around the world connected through the sport of rugby, whether it's on the coaching side, the playing side, or those that are giving back, like Brian Abana with the Brian Abana Foundation. There's so many wonderful stories. We can't wait to share them with you, the audience. We thank you for all the support. And remember, every legend has a story, and we're here to share it.
Welcome to the Hive.
Beautiful ball over the top. Yes, Seppo!
Thank you for listening, you sleek sensations.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to Rugby Hive Podcast and catch us on all the socials at Rugby Hive.
We appreciate your support. Be safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
They've taken the lunch money from Sunday.